Hi, this is Mr. Anna from the Olive Pierce Middle School, and I wanted to give you 4 reasons why we're recommending the adoption of STEMScope. I'm here on the STEMScope website right here, and if you take a look, I love that they support the next generation science standards, and they start off with the performance expectation of what students should be able to do. Then they talk about the 3 dimensions here. They go into the environmental principles and concepts, and then I really like that they have the evidence statements right there of what we should be looking for if students have mastered that standard. Then they have the grade bands of what students should know by the time the end of 5th grade, and then by the end of 8th grade what students should be able to do for that standard, and then even up into high school. So it really brings all 3 of the grade levels or the together beautifully. And then from here you can take a look at the engage piece. They've got the investigative phenomena. It should always start with the phenomena. They've got a hook here. You've got all these hands-on activities here. The explain, some are students explaining, some are teachers explaining. The elaborate, the evaluate, the intervention, and then acceleration. So all of those pieces really support the 5E model of teaching science. So this is why we really think that STEMScopes supports the NGSS better than any of the other programs that we piloted. So I showed you that example. Here's another example of, you can see here's the standard. Apply Newton's third law to design a solution to provide a solution to a problem involving the motion of 2 colliding objects. And then the 2 engineering standards right there. So here's the learning opportunities that students have so that they can show they've mastered that standard.
One!
So again, we had to do some of these because of COVID, right? Because students were doing the distance learning. This is Newton's third law. For every action, there's an opposite equal reaction. And then from there, students were doing this. They were actually engineering this shock absorber for a car. And this was just a focus lesson talking about the design engineering process. They were doing some activities, a helmet project we did, some other projects in the past. You can see here that they get to brainstorm their ideas and then use that process and then apply the knowledge that they've learned. So pretty cool.
That you need to be.
And I was amazed. So students would come up with these designs and then put them on the discussion board and canvas. Here's one example.
Hi, my name's Hunter McManama, and this is my shock absorber project. Newton's third law states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So I built this bumper.
So it's really cool, kind of the things that they came up with. Some weren't able to build it, so they just did the schematics and the blueprints.
Hi, I'm Kylie Sojourner, and this is
and you could see the details here that students are doing. So this was great. This was a lot of critical thinking and iterations in their design. So, second, STEMScope offers more hands-on investigative activities that are meaningful, relevant, compelling, equitable. It allows students to talk and allows students to move. The last thing we want is students just to sit there and have the teacher talk at them the whole entire time, right? We want them doing because that's when they learn. We want them talking because that's when they get their critical thinking and they come to a greater understanding of the concepts we're teaching. Here's an example of students, explanatory models, and developing questions.
Hello, this is Mr. Vandergriff, and we are doing the phenomena of the season. See all my little globes right here? But students have designed their own model of what they think's happening, and then they came up with some questions. So I'm going to come over here to Nicholas. All right, read your questions so far. What do you got?
Is there different amounts of heat coming off the sun at like different points of it?
Thank you. What else?
Is the sun just fire, or is it like something else, or is the sun just like a big fireball?
And then as students developed their explanatory model, they had more experiences like this.
As it goes around, it curves in. And like right now, like on that model, it should be just dark since it's on the bottom.
And then they would add to their model or take away to come to a greater understanding of what the concepts were. Third, Ramona High School Science Department has adopted the STEMScope. So that's really going to help students become successful once they get into the high school sciences. They're already familiar with the STEMScope platform. And then lastly, students prefer STEMScopes. Here's a quote. I think it's very important that teachers listen to kids' thoughts because we are the ones doing the lessons. The science department should let the kids pick their own curriculum. I personally like STEMScopes. I do not like the other programs. We are the ones staying up all night working. I think it's very important to listen to students' opinions because it's important to us how we learn and grow. When something is not interesting, I usually forget it, but when it is fun, I remember it. 85% of students that were surveyed preferred STEMscope over the other programs piloted. So hopefully this helped give you a couple reasons of why the middle school is supporting STEMscope, and hopefully you found this video helpful.